So I'm just going to use our Silverwolf ad account to show how to create an ad in Meta. Well, from this page, you can see that there are different types of ads that you can create. We're just going to create a leads ad. Hit continue. We could allow Meta to do all the work using the tailored leads campaign, or we could set up one manually. So I'm going to go for the manual setup. Now we are at the campaign level. Remember, we talked about 3 levels. This is the campaign level. And at the campaign level, there are different actions that you can take. For instance, you can set your budget at the campaign level. And what that means is that once you set your budget in the campaign level, that the budget amount here would affect all the ad set, everything in the ad set, and everything at the ad level. So if we have like 3 ad sets here and 2 ads in each of the ad sets, then the budget that you set up here at the campaign level at this point would affect all of them. And it can either be a daily budget or a lifetime budget. You can set up a lifetime budget for maybe you're running an ad for a month and you just want Meta to optimize and tell you exactly and help you run the ads just the way they want. So let's say 300,000 is how much you're going to spend in the entire month. 300,000. And yeah, so you can see it's 750 higher than accounts every year because it's higher than, because this is usually typically not what we do on this account. But yeah, this is something that you can do. You can reduce it to 100,000. Yeah, and it works. That's about 3,000 naira a day. 100,000 naira, especially if you're testing, you can use this as your lifetime budget, or you can set up a daily budget, 3,000 and above. I would usually say 4,000 a day to start with, and then you can decide whether you want to increase as you make progress in the ad, depending on a number of other factors. So that we can set up our ad at this level, and that's what people mean when they say CBO, campaign budget optimization. That means that your budget is optimized at the campaign level. Every other thing you can leave as is. Highest volume, yes. That means that Meta will try to get you your budget using the lowest amount possible to get you as many conversions as possible. You can also do other things here, depending on how good you are, how much of a pro you are in advertising. You might decide to do cost per goal. And then the last is bid cap. What you do here is that you're changing your campaign bid strategy to a particular amount. So if you say, oh, I want only, my bid cap is 1,000 naira per lead, then Facebook Meta is going to optimize for that as well. So that's bid cap. But most people would stay with highest volume because that's a lot clearer to understand, and then you just stay with that. Okay, so we're going to stay with highest volume. And then budget scheduling. This is something else that you might decide to do, again, if you understand it. If you understand your target audience, when they're online, when they're most likely to buy, when there is less sales, you can actually set all of that up here. You can decide, okay, end of the month, a lot of people do purchase. So you can say, increase my daily budget by maybe 3,000 naira. Maybe you're using an average budget of 2,000 naira. a day, and then you say increase my budget between the 1st and the 10th of the month by 3,000. So you'll be running at 5,000 naira, and then between the 11th and the 19th, do it at 2,000 naira, and then from the 20th to the end of the month, go back to 5,000. So you can set that up here. And what does that do? Basically, what that does for you is that it keeps your campaign running, and it's also so that the algorithm doesn't keep entering into a learning phase. And this is a mistake that most businesses that run adverts do. They run their ads for too short a period, and because they're running that ad for too short a period, what happens is that each time you pause and restart your ad, Meta goes into a learning phase. So the ad begins to learn all over again, and then you are just stuck in that loop of a learning phase. The learning phase usually happens with 3 to 7 days, depending on the type of ad you're running. So if you run an ad for just a week, pause it and start again, Facebook goes back into the learning phase. And no matter how good your targeting is, you're just going to keep losing money. So just to mention, so this is something you could do to help you not allow Facebook to keep going back to the learning phase. So the learning phase will not be exited if you're running for 1 month and you just keep running the ad, but you adjust your spend as you proceed. And you can actually set it up here and just let it run. Okay, so we're not going to do that for this particular demonstration that we're running. So moving on. So running A/B test. Yes, it's good to test, but I usually do not encourage people to do A/B testing because for me, it's a waste of funds. You can actually allow Meta to do your A/B test at the ad set and ad level, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But what usually, if you're using Advantage Plus Audience, what happens is that Facebook is basically testing your different ads, showing it to different audiences, and the audiences that click, who clicks, the audience that clicks is the audience that Facebook will continue to optimize your ad for. They'll show it more to the audience that clicks. So there's no need for you to actually run A/B tests, except you have a very good reason for doing so, but usually no. There's no good reason to do that. All right, so we move on to the ad set level. Remember, we talked about CBO and we said campaign budget optimization. Well, here, when you hear ABO, it happens at the ad set level, and that's ad budget optimization. So if you scroll all the way down here, you would see, okay, I think I inadvertently turned on something here, so I'm just going to go back and turn it off so that, yeah, I thought as much. So I just have to turn this off here and then, yeah, go back. So here we are back at the ad set level, and because we've turned off the budget at the CBO level, we can now set our budget here. And what's the advantage and disadvantage of it? Each type of budgeting at the campaign level or at the ad set level. So if I have in this campaign 3 ad sets, for instance, and I am trying to test which of my ad sets would bring me the best cost per lead or cost per click, depending on what the goal of the advert is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, so you can see that duplication happening. So I'm going to duplicate. You can duplicate as many. Here you can see number of copies. If you want to make 5 copies, I already did 1, so I can just do 4 more. So there you go. So we forget about all the exclamation points. We're going to talk about those. So there. edit each ad set? Yes, not all at the same time. So what happens here is that, as you can see, we have 4 ad sets, right? And so what we can do is pick on each ad set and decide how we want to edit. All right. So what's the budget? We set the budget. What's the start date? We set the start date. What's the end date? We set the end date. We don't have a minimum spend because we're setting the budget. And then we go to our audience controls. We set up our audience controls. So what happens is that the budget is applied at the ad set level. And because it's applied at the ad set level, we can have different budgets for each of these ads. So if I want to spend 5,000 here, 5,000 here, 5,000 here, 4,000 here, 3,000 here, 2,000 here. So I can make that decision because I have not set up my my budget at the campaign level. What happens if I've put my 100,000 at the campaign level and I say run this for 1 month and I have 5 ad sets with maybe 2 or 3 ads in each ad set? What Meta will try to do is to optimize this spend. That's why it says campaign budget optimization. It's going to try to optimize this spend and go and test each of my ads and see which people are clicking and spend more money on those. But I have greater flexibility on what I want to do if I decide to run ABO, which is ad budget optimization. So if at the ad set level, I can ad set budget optimization. So at the ad set level, I can decide how much I want to spend on each ad. So that's how that works. So we're just gonna leave this and then go to our ad level. Oh, before we go to our ad level, let's quickly run through some of the points here. So you have to decide what you want to optimize for, where you want your conversion to happen. Do you want it to happen at your website? Do you want websites and calls? Do you want instant forms, messenger, instant form and messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, calls, app? You have to decide where you want your conversion to take place. And in making this decision, you're thinking about your target audience and you're asking, where are they most comfortable having conversations with me? Where are they most comfortable converting? A lot of people we've spoken to have said that websites in Nigeria, websites are not the best place to convert. There are people who have had great conversions in their website. So it's not a one size fits all. You need to test and see what actually works for you. For some people, the website works. For some, it doesn't. So you have to test, like I said, to decide what would actually work for you. But WhatsApp, it's somewhere that a lot of people own WhatsApp and they like starting conversations on WhatsApp. So yeah, a lot of businesses use WhatsApp as a conversion point. Others optimize for calls. People just want to get on a call and talk to you directly, have a feel of your voice. Again, you have to decide what works for your business, and you wouldn't know until you test. So I would usually encourage people to test all the different forms, all the different types. Instant forms are also a very good way of generating leads. Most importantly, because you can actually qualify the leads with your instant forms. You can qualify them to decide whether you want, these are the kind of leads you're looking for or not. All right. So after you decide where you want the conversion to take place, of course, this is the Silverwolf Digital page, ad account. So there you have it. You have to include, if you're an agency, for instance, and you run ads for different people, then you have to be sure of what Facebook page you're using before you run one ad for another account. Or if you're a business that has multiple accounts, then you just need to be sure of which account that you're using at that point. So remember, when we talked earlier at the campaign level, we talked about a bid. You're using a bid cap. So this is where you now insert your bid cap. So let's say we want our bid to be 1,000 naira. So that's our bid cap. What we're telling Meta is that we do not want for any reason for our bid to exceed, for our lead to exceed 1,000 naira. So our cost per lead should not exceed 1,000 naira. You can see it here. Meta will aim to get the most results without bidding more than 1,000 naira in any auction using the bid cap strategy. So you can see that right there. Of course, there are other options that you can look out for there. We're not using the bid cap here, but it's something that you could explore and see if it works for you, especially if you have run ads for a while and you're just testing to see what works and what doesn't work. Right. So here again, for your budget, you can do a daily budget or you can do a lifetime budget at the ABO level, same thing. And then for your schedule, most of the time we leave ads running for longer periods of time. So you have your start date. If you want to include an end date, then go right ahead and include your end date here. If not, you leave it and it's just going to keep running. You see ongoing. Again, just as I explained at the campaign level, you can also have set up how you want the budget to run for each of the campaigns at this level and do all of that. And then this is the point where a lot of people run into trouble. They don't know what should you use at your location. Well, here, Nigeria is used as a location, but we can also do something else. When we talk about geo-targeting, this is where geo-targeting happens. So let's say my business is in Benin, right? Benin, Edo State, that's the city. And I say, all right, I want to run this campaign in Benin City. So it's telling me there, Benin City plus 40 kilometers. Do I want 40 kilometers? No, I do not. But at this point, you can't go below 17 kilometers, right? You can see it right there. You can't go below 17 kilometers. So if you want something more targeted, how do you achieve this? Where is your location? Stand in your location and pin that location. For instance, let's say I'm in Aleshinloye. That's the market that I am in. Aleshinloye market, that's where I'm selling. Aleshinloye market, Ibadan. And you can see, pinned, Aleshinloye market, plus 2 kilometers. If I have a physical store and I want people to walk into my store, this is probably what I'll do. I could increase it to 5 kilometers because I know that, okay, people can pay transport and come if they actually like what they're seeing. And so we could do that. Or we could actually drop pin. What does that mean? It means that you look at your map and then you drop the pin exactly where you want it to be. It could be your office. You drop the pin there, you get your location, and you're doing geo-targeting. If you run an online store and you are targeting people in certain location, perhaps because you're selling luxury good items and luxury goods, and you want people with certain characteristics based on where they stay. You want people in Banana Island, you want people in Ikoyi, you want people in Victoria Island, you want people in VGC. You can actually impute, I think, as much as 30 of such locations. And this is geo-targeting. That is a very specific targeting. Of course, the more specific you get with your targeting, the more you spend. Because Facebook is going to have to work extra to get people living in those particular areas. So you may need to up your ad spend if you want the best results from that geo-targeting. Another thing I'm going to talk about very quickly is Advantage Plus Audience. When you use Advantage Plus Audience, it's actually an excellent targeting tool to use. But I would advise that you kind of guide the AI to do what you want it to do. And so you could look at, do you have a custom audience? And who's your custom audience? Perhaps people who have bought from you in the past, leads you've worked with in the past, people who have done some kind of business with you. You have an entire list. You can use them to create a custom audience. And then after creating a custom audience, you can create a lookalike audience from your custom audience. And we usually say do 1 to 3%, 1% being more targeted, 3% being more expansive. Sometimes you do up to 4%, because the broader your audience, the easier it is for Facebook or for the AI, Meta AI, the algorithm, the almighty algorithm, to do its work. So if you have a broader audience, so you always try as much as possible. As you do your targeting, look at the left side here to see what the estimated daily results are, because this would help you to know exactly. So we're going to come back here and say our location is Nigeria. Just going to pick Nigeria. That's very broad. And then immediately we pick Nigeria. What happens? Look, we're told this is the number of people we're going to get. 0 conversations. And do you know why we're having 0 conversations? Of course, it's because we have multiple ad sets here and just a budget of about 3,000. So let's do something here. Let's increase the budget and see what happens. So let's say, because we have 5 ad sets, let's run 10,000 naira. Okay? 10,000 naira per day. I usually do not like using a round figure. So let's add 30 kobo here. Right? So, see? Suddenly, we have 12 to 35 conversations. So it has to do with how much you're spending because of the number of ad sets. So I'll usually encourage you to do 2,000 naira per ad set for better optimization. Okay, so that's for the location, that's for the audience. So if you have a custom audience, you can add your custom audience so that Meta can use that as the start point to look for the kind of people that want to buy from you or have bought from you in the past. So it's a starting point. So the learning process is not altogether new for the algorithm, because you've given them suggestions. You've given them a nudge in a particular direction, and so they begin to move in that direction. I was hoping that this was going to be a short, but it's getting long. But okay, let's quickly talk about detailed targeting. This is where you add your demographics, your psychographics. So if you have done a good job with finding your ideal customer or knowing who your ideal customer is, this will be easier for you. So I know that a lot of people come here and they just go, I'm looking for engaged shoppers. Yeah, engaged shoppers is very good, but everybody's using engaged shoppers. Or so, iPhone users, they have money. Or Galaxy S9 users, they have money, or luxury store users, they have money. But there are some other targeting that is low bid, because this targeting that a lot of people use means that remember, it's an auction. When you have 10 people bidding for the same thing and you have one person bidding, the amount that one person would pay will be lower than when there is more competition. So Facebook runs on an auction. So if everybody is using engaged shoppers, the price point goes high. So you have to spend higher in order to get that audience. So what do? You understand the demographics, psychographics of your target audience, and you use the psychographics in your targeting. So let's say, for instance, you're selling clothes. You sell luxury clothing items. You target women to start with, because they're mostly the people, except you're selling men's clothes. Well, you can't target women if you're selling men's clothes. Well, you can actually target women if you're selling men's clothes, because you're targeting rich women who can be gift buyers. You see? You see what I mean? So you need to actually think about what you're doing. And that's why you have different ad sets. So if you create this ad set for gift buyers, you create this ad set for actual people that that are your main target audience, you create this ad set for another target audience. When you do that, then you are actually testing. And then what Meta does is that, they show your ad copy to different people. And then they decide who is actually converting, and then they use that. Placement. Right. A lot of people don't do anything with the placement, but I would encourage you to test placements as well. So instead of just using the Advantage Plus placement where you have like 17, 18 placements, why not pay attention to where most of your sales are coming from? So we come here and we say manual placements, and you see immediately I pick manual placements that there's going to be a change in my conversions. So let's say I do not want audience network. It means nothing to me. I do not want messenger. They are all low quality. Facebook, okay. I just want Facebook feed, right? So I turn on Facebook feed. No, I do not want messenger. Off you go. So there you have it. Suddenly I do not have, see, back to zero conversations. Back to zero conversations because I'm now doing high level specialized targeting. So what happens here? If I insist that I'm still going to use 5 ad sets here, I have to come back here and increase my budget. Remember, we're talking about a daily budget here. So I'm going up. Of course, it's looking higher than usual because I usually do not run this kind of ads. But you see, again, my conversations has increased. My conversation has increased because I increased my ad spend. So this whole thing is a game of numbers. You have to keep looking, checking, being sure, testing to know exactly what you're doing and how it's going to affect your conversions and all. Right. So now we move from this ad set level to the ad. And this is where 70% of your conversion is at this level. It is your creative. Your creative. So you set up a creative. At this point, you are either using an image or a video. If you are using Instagram as your major placement, then it's better for you to use a video ad because most Instagram people, they prefer videos, right? If you're using Facebook, then it's better to use an image ad because that's easier for people on Facebook to click. You need to understand your audience and how they think and how they react and what they react to and how they react to what they react to. If you do not do this, you are going to have problems. Of course, your creative must speak directly to your target audience, or else the algorithm will get confused if you have said, show my item, show my creative to people who buy luxury good items. And they show it to people who buy luxury good items, and the people look at your creative and they say, nah, that doesn't look luxury. And they ignore it. And it's only people who are low quality that are clicking. Do you know what the algorithm is going to do? The algorithm is going to start showing your ad to those low quality people. And then you'll be asking, why am I getting low quality leads? The reason you're getting low quality leads is because your creative is speaking to low quality people. So that is setting up an ad on Meta in a nutshell. I hope you've learned something. We're going to take questions right after this. Thank you.